ultimately art is just communication, and you just you just have to work on the way you're communicating ideas to people.
How how's the day been for you so far?
Pretty chill day. I'm trying to remember what happened. I don't know what it is about being a freelancer, but I just kind of forget how my days go a lot of times because they morph into days.
Yeah.
But we kind of stayed in with the baby today. We were eating Cheerios this morning, and we were watching Bluey, and then she has a mini basketball hoop in her room that I set up.
Nice. That's what's up. That's what's up. Sounds like a smooth family day.
Yeah, I can't complain. Yeah, yeah,
When we spoke earlier, you said that you spend a lot of time with your child. You prioritize it over everything.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It was a major point, because I had always imagined of being a stay-at-home dad, at least when I left college. So yeah, I wanted to make that a point when she was born. I would be very present in, at least in these very important years. So she's about 1.5 now, and I've been a stay-at-home dad the whole time that she's been born. I spend most of the days from 8:30 to 6 with her. We just play around, read books. She does a little drawing, watch YouTube. Whatever I'm doing, she's usually doing. We take business meetings together, all that.
Man, man. That's so cool. That's cool that a lot of times, especially the dads, like in a traditional sense, like the dad was always the one that had to go
Yeah,
and leave the house, do the work, and then come back. And it's cool that you're able to be there and just be with her, just day in and day out, and still be able to get your work done too. It's not like you're having to just sit at home and do nothing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, sometimes she used to let me work a lot. Now she requires a little more attention. So I really don't get to work during the day too much. If anything, I'll do social. Like I'll be chatting or DMing on Instagram and LinkedIn or stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, for the most part, she has two stay-at-home parents actually. So
Oh,
it's yeah, my wife just started a job, so now our schedules are kind of changing, but I think she'll never forget that. Like I've never met anyone with two stay-at-home parents,
mm.
and I've seen the effect that it has on her. Like she's super advanced. So I'm excited to see how that materializes in her future.
What kind of things are you seeing now?
Well, definitely the drawing. She loves to draw. She's saying words. She's walking, running, climbing the stairs. She's a little scared to go down the stairs by herself, but she can do it with some assistance. And then just her awareness, like when she was born, like she came out of the place where babies come from with her eyes wide open. And of course they know how to like breastfeed as soon as they come out. But even after that, just her awareness of kind of what's going on and her awareness of people when she gets around strangers, like she's very like skeptical until she kind of feels them out and sees if they're genuine or have good energy. Just stuff like that. Like she has social cues. Like she's very social with the other kids when we take her to learning spaces and with other people. Like she's just a super aware baby.
Mhm. Interesting. Did you have that kind of upbringing for yourself?
No, no, not that I remember. When I was really little, I don't remember anything from that far, to be honest. I actually just learned a couple weeks ago that I was kind of a heavy baby, like I had some weight on me. The whole time I thought I was super super skinny, but nah, I was a thick baby.
That was your time to be heavy set.
Right, right. Yeah, my mom was a nurse, so she worked the night shift. And my dad, he worked in the daytime, of course, but he worked as an optician, I think he was. So he used to take me to work with him. And that's the earliest I remember. We used to take the train because I'm from New York. We used to take the train to his job, and I'd be there for the day, and then we take the train home and watch movies. I remember us watching the Matrix growing up. Yeah.
Mm, cool. So then, what kind of, I mean, as a kid going to work with your dad, going on that train. I know New York can be really like fast paced and it's a lot of people. And as like a young kid, like what kind of things were there any things that you saw on those daily commutes there and back, or just even at the workspace that you think still kind of hold on to you today?
Nothing specific. I think I'm just very comfortable around people. I think that's one thing that New York gave me. Like it doesn't really matter who you are. I'm very accepting of all different types of personalities. I don't really get surprised by weird things happening. I think I'm more surprised by the minor inconveniences, like when something little doesn't work that I feel like is supposed to work.
Mm,
That stuff kind of frustrates me. But nah, I'm very accustomed to like the hustle and bustle culture.
mm. So then, like, what is it that you understand or that you see in people that you think that like people who aren't as kind of willing and social are like? I don't think that I was a very social child. I don't remember
Mm,
myself being like anti or anything, but
yeah.
I definitely wasn't one that kind of made friends with everybody or was like the center of attention or anything like that. It was more so, I had a few friends and
Mm,
I kept them close. And, it wasn't something even now today, I see people who can just be super social and super cool with with everybody, anybody.
mm.
And it's like, man, what is that? What is that understanding for you? Or like how do you see it differently from people like that?
Damn, that's a good question. I don't know. I find I find an interest or I see stories in people, no matter who that person is. Like for every trait that someone has, there's a story behind why they are that way. And I feel like I'm very intuitive to those stories. Me personally, I think I have a gift for making people feel comfortable to be themselves, just because I'm myself all the time. No matter where I go, I'm not gonna compromise who I am. Like I'll either be my quiet self who's more observant, or I'll be the guy that's joking around. But ultimately, usually people feel free around me because my whole thing is about providing a safe space and living a free life, and it encourages other people to live in that freedom as well. So
Mm,
I think it's more so just that freedom. Like a lot of people just don't feel free while they're walking around, and and I do, because I've had a very free childhood. Like I spent a lot of time by myself, but I was doing art from a young age, and I was never discouraged for it. I wasn't really discouraged from doing anything that I wanted to do. Like I always had a support system, whether it's my mom or my brother or my uncle, my aunt, my dad, before he passed. Like I've always had people shoving encouragement into me. So I kind of realized the the space that I had, and I was given a lot of space to explore who I wanted to be. And yeah.
hmm, okay. So it's nice when you can actually see. Does the opportunities you have in real time, like
Mm,
really just because a lot of times people don't see it until like after, like the hindsight 2020 thing. And they're like, dang
yeah.
it, I could have been doing this or I should have been doing that. And it sounds like you took a lot of good time to really just lean into the opportunities you had growing up.
Yeah, yeah. I would say definitely. I took as much alone time as I could. I used to just sit and stare at the ceiling and just be in my head about things, just thinking about what I watched on TV or just playing video games, drawing. And that stuff that stuff is kind of stuff we get away from when we get older. Like me sitting staring at the ceiling now is very hard to do. Like I barely get time to do it. But it's like as you get older, you start trying to escape the thoughts that are in your head when when you were a kid and you didn't have so many, issues or worldly things to think about. That was all we wanted to be was in our imagination.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and it was really inspiring that you said that you understand people and you see people's stories because you yourself, like, you see your own story and you've given yourself the freedom to be yourself. I know a lot of people trying to do that. And like,
Mhm.
what would you tell people like that didn't necessarily have a lot of time or a lot of space to be themselves growing up, but
Mm,
maybe they have it now
yeah.
and they've got some stuff that is kind of in the way, different forms of anxiety or um, just negative self-talk that kind of stiff arms all of that effort. How do
Mm.
you? What would be like your adult's guide to trying to figure that out? I have space now. This is what to do.
Mm. Yeah, I would say just spend as much time with yourself as possible. Just pay attention to your little quirks, your little kinks, stuff that you do like about yourself, stuff that you don't like about yourself, and then radically accept those things. Because the way I've been feeling recently is that people don't really have bad traits, they just have unbalanced traits. Like a trait that seems negative in one light, if you balance it out, it might be a positive in a different space. So say you're in a maybe an aggressive person. I was a pretty angry kid. Um, and in one way, yeah, that's bad if you're taking that aggression out in, passive aggressive ways or and such. But on the other hand, maybe you're a person who's headstrong or assertive and you have a way to kind of manifest the life that you want aggressively. Really just turning that negative energy into a positive force. And really just, yeah, just accept who you are. Like it's cool. You're not, some people are going to reject parts of you and that's okay. Maybe it just doesn't vibe with them, but as long as you accept that part of yourself, you'll be all right. You'll find your you'll find your people.
Mm. I think sometimes like the tough part for a lot of people is like they're the ones like people people don't accept me and I'm people. Like they're
Right.
they're the ones that's like this sucks about me. Those voices are usually the voices of people who told them that early on.
Yeah.
They might be some school bully, parent, a close friend, a sibling, and their voices still echo in their heads of
Yeah.
like, you do this too much or you're not good enough here or you need to be better at that. You know, um, you have any way of like, do you ever have any of those types of things and then like have you managed to shake them off?
Yeah. I think so. I think I have the fortune of not really remembering them too much. I only really remember one story. I was in church and I told this guy I was an artist and he asked me if I knew who Banksy was. I was like, yeah, I know who Banksy is. And he was like, yeah, if you do stuff like that, you should be good. I'm like, Banksy has a different set of privileges that I don't have. Like I can't.
Yeah.
One, I don't want to do work like Banksy, and I don't think I have to in order to succeed. But even that wasn't directly negative towards me. That was just somebody who doesn't really know, just saying their piece about, what they think being in this field is like.
Yeah.
Um, there's always gonna be people talking, but it's more important for you to talk to yourself because you have to build that strength in who you are to where it doesn't matter what people say about you. You can choose who you want to be at the end of the day. Whatever traits you want, you can choose. The person that you want to be, you can choose. The impact that you want to have on the world, you can choose to take steps towards that impact.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. And like a lot of times it can thrive. It can kind of be sparked from just random things that people have to say. Um,
Yeah.
I remember, I remember one time. Um, this was a long time ago. I think this like old Sam Flax days, and I remember being in the back of Sam Flax, and I'm doing some work for. I had a solo show in 2016. I put it on myself. Me and my family, like my mom and my sisters, helped me put it together. And I'm trying to stretch canvas to make my pieces because I'm like I don't want to buy 20, 30 canvases. I just want to get a big roll and like stretch them myself. And
Mm,
I'm in the back of this Sam Flags and I'm asking one of the employees, and this is no shade to Sam Flags. I don't even know this guy. Like I love Sam Flags, right? And they know that. Like I didn't even know no mess with them. But um, this dude was in the back, and he's like, "Okay, you want how much of this roll of canvas?" And I told him I don't even remember how much I asked for. But then he's like, "Do you want any stretcher bars?" And the stretcher bars are like little just wood planks that go in a and can be assembled uh
mm,
to get the canvas to stretch over. And I'm like, what are stretcher bars? I didn't know what stretcher bars were. I was like,
mm,
I had planned to go to Home Depot and get some 2x4s and like just kind of cut them and staple them like that. And he laughed. He laughed that I didn't know what stretcher bars were. And he's like, and you putting on the whole show? You're an artist and you don't know what stretcher bars are? And started laughing. And I was just like, all right, bro. Like,
what a
fine. Like, fine then. Um,
just
or
give me my.
or even there was a story one time I was renting out my tux for prom one year in high school. And he was asking me like, hey, what do you want to do once you finish school, whatever? And I told him I wanted to be an artist. And this dude, he had glasses on. He literally like he looked at me, like when they look at you like up under the little glasses. And he was just like, hey, he took his little hat off and I'm like, bro, he got all serious and he's like, hey man, so whenever it's time, like, it's cool to draw and doodle while you're in class and stuff like that, but like you really might want to start considering like some real options when it comes to making money. It's hard out there as a creative, and not everybody has the stuff. And I was just like, what? Come on, you haven't even seen the work yet. How do you know? Like, how do you know it's gonna be like that? And I just remember like my brain. I always saw those things and challenged them. Like I was like,
Mm,
nah, like I'm not gonna let whatever you say like do that. And I think I got that from my parents too, because they often do that themselves. But it was something where you do have to kind of fight it. You have to kind of go against whatever it is that those people are telling you is the
mm,
case. And you can prove these people wrong. Or I was like, I ended up doing that solo show and like I didn't use a single stretcher bar. And I mean I sold almost all the pieces. And so it was like I could have let that word just, you know, crash and burn everything, but you do have to kind of fight it with your own narrative, with your own story.
yeah, that's so pretentious. Like I've never heard of a stretcher bar.
Yeah,
Like,
it's an easy way to put the frame together, essentially.
okay,
And it's
yeah,
like,
you can't do art without those.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, man. People were doing artwork before stretcher bars were even invented. Whatever. But I don't know. I think that what you were saying is very true though. Like um is being able to create your own your own self, and you're always able to do that, even once you've kind of gotten to an established position, where people are like, oh, I'm this kind of artist now, or I'm this kind of guy, or I'm this kind of girl, or whatever. It's like
Mhm.
you don't have to stay in uh, that class, or that box that you put yourself into.
Do you still feel like you're proving something when you create, or is it more like from a place of something different?
You know, I just got out of that. Not gonna
Okay.
lie, just got out of that because I don't know. I had a lot of salt growing up. Like it was from whether it was people in class that wanted to hate on the artwork, or it was just adults that like the dude at the thing, prawn the little tuxedo place, or the dude in the sandflags, and they're just saying little stuff that kind of like works my nerves. Or even like in school, even in school, I had some complications like with my parents, and like I wanted to quit art school and I didn't
Mm,
like it. And um they wanted me to stay and complete school so that I could have a degree.
yeah.
And I just wanted to show them that like you don't need a degree to like to be able to do this. And
Mhm.
so I was just all the while I was getting the degree, I was at it. And even after getting the degree, like I haven't, it's just in the tube. I haven't even opened I haven't even opened it. And I just kind of came out of that space where I'm like, okay, you don't have to create for you don't have to create out of salt anymore, because it only lasts as long as you're salty. And then then once I kind of learned to forgive and learn to kind of smooth things over, that drive went. And I found it really hard to make stuff. And I was like,
Mhm.
interesting. What is that? Like having to kind of find that new drive was pretty challenging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. Do you have any stories like that, or do you have any early salt that drove creativity? You said you were an
I
angry kid. What were you angry about?
I was just I got more angry when my mom started dating again.
Mm-hmm.
Because my dad passed when I was around 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So we had we just had a really long time without him. So it was interesting when my mom started dating again because I felt like I didn't get the best entry back into it. Like it felt like it was being sprung on me instead of like a conversation of, hey, I'm about to bring this guy around, yada yada. And I didn't really vibe with that because I didn't really like who she was bringing around at the time. Not that they were bad people, I just didn't like them because I knew what they were, but you know how adults be. They be trying to like, oh, this is just my little friend or my my buddy. Like I know what this is. Um, s- so yeah, I think that's when I got more angry. And yeah, I was a pretty passive aggressive kid too. Like I was sarcastic. I still can be, but I toned it down. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I think it was just not really me and my family. We didn't communicate much about deeper issues. So when it came, I would just hold stuff in basically.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that stuff would come out in times of stress, of course, or like arguments or yada yada. So I wasn't like just walking around angry at the world, but there was some anger in there that would come out when when I needed it or when I thought I needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what about those things made you upset? Like, I know that you were saying that it was because they were like, was it because it was like a you think you slick, or
Oh
was
yeah.
it like? My parents are divorced as well, and so I know like whenever my mom started to date people, I mean, I never necessarily had a problem with it, and so I was
Mm.
curious to know like what part of it like upset you.
Yeah, my dad was like a force. So when he before he died, he died of a transplant because he had cancer. He had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So before he found out he had cancer, he used to rollerblade to the city. We lived in Brooklyn. He would rollerblade up Flatbush Avenue all the way to the bridge, and then he would rollerblade across the bridge to work. So he was a very active guy. And then when he found out he had cancer, he was still doing that through chemotherapy.
Mm.
And he also, before he passed, he got us into a house. And he opened his own uh optical salon. He was also an ordained minister. He also did music that I just heard for the first time like a couple weeks ago.
Oh wow.
That he had a whole yeah, I heard one song this one time, and then for my mom's birthday, one of my aunts, she had his tapes, and she's converting them to get the full project. So now it's a full project, and
Uh,
she has one side of it. So I'm just excited to hear it. Um, yeah, so he just did so much, and he was such a big personality. So when it seemed like my mom was trying to like sneak guys into my life to fill this gap, like not trying to fill the gap, but that's just what it feels like at the time.
for sure.
Uh, it was like, nah, and these guys they weren't bad people. They just weren't as swaggy. Like they didn't have what I felt she deserved, or what I felt I deserved as a role model.
Mm,
So yeah, so I was just not having it.
interesting. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense too, because for me, it's like my situation's just a bit different. And the fact that it could be seen like from a kid or, like a young person, like it can be seen that way. So yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely understand where that can be like that source of frustration, a source of anger. Did those things translate into your like did those things drive creativity for you, or was it more so like um was it more so just on the personal side of life, that kind of thing?
Oh nah. So at first I didn't think so, but if you look at my sketchbooks from that age, all the characters are angry. They're
Interesting.
all Yeah, they all have turned down eyebrows, and they might be smiling, they might be not, but all the characters were angry. And I didn't realize the pattern until maybe I got to college.
Mhm. Was it
Yeah.
something or someone that kind of helped you see that, or you were just kind of looking in your book one day and was like, wait a minute?
Yeah, I was just looking in my book. College definitely encouraged me to look through my work and look at my work a lot deeper, because I went through some things in college too, and I found myself wanting to put it in the artwork, and I did. So I started like just reading, because I'll create something and I won't really know the message of it until after I look at like after it's done. So I would go back into this work and I would see what I was going through in there. So while I was having trouble communicating to people like about my feelings, I could look through the book and see everything that I wanted to say, or everything that I was saying, or that I wasn't saying.
Mm. So you just kind of let it run. It you just kind of put pen to paper and then you kind of look. It's almost like printing out a transcript or something. Like, okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah, and my goal is to just make whatever that feeling is look as cool as possible, because I like confident work. I like stylish work. So yeah, I just try to make that stuff look good.
But how do you do that? Like, I say that
Mhm.
in a way of like I've always wanted to be able to put my own feelings into my work, but it's different from certain painters where they're like, oh, I paint my emotions, and they're able to paint these like really distinct images, and these things where you got people standing a certain way or things are arranged a certain way, and it's like, oh, it's so profound, and it's like I was drawing like monsters and dragons, and like I can't express. I mean, it's not that I can't, but it was
Mhm.
hard for me as like 17, 18, 20, 22 year old to try and express heavy emotions when I just want to draw like Naruto, or I want to draw like, a dragon or a sword or something, Like
Mhm.
how did you go to that place, or like how did, because I know that your work is very stylish and like high energy like that as well. So how are you able to kind of pull into your emotions when you have a style like that?
Oh yeah, so those influences become a part of the story. So if I had this drawing, it was after I broke up with the girl I was with in college. I had a drawing. It was me or a variant of some kid with an afro that closely resembled me, and and he had a MF Doom mask on, and he was like kind of leaned up against the wall. He was holding a gun in his hand, and then he had like bullet holes um in his chest and then one in his forehead. And that's not to say that the character shot himself. He could have been, defending himself from someone else and he got shot. But that's the ambiguity of the thing. But ultimately, at the time, I was listening to MF Doom. Like I was discovering who that artist was, and just applying that type of style, that music to my situation.
Mm,
And a lot of times, like I tend to forget, like the major details of things. I think it's like a trauma response or something like from my dad, but I would notice that I would see in like snapshots. So I can't tell you the place that we were um at the time that it happened. I can't tell you what music was playing or like details like that or what I was wearing, but I can show you how I pictured it.
mm.
Yeah, so I'll bring Naruto into my world. What's if I'm drawing a scene where some I don't know something happens to Naruto, he's crying for Sasuke yet again, and maybe I'm Naruto crying for Sasuke, or somebody's crying for me, you know.
Interesting. And it's funny, I see your work sometimes, and you do personify yourself or like your character in these ways, and you do kind of like plug them into these situations, and it can say a lot more than what people think, because some people are probably like, oh, dope, Naruto, bam, and it's done.
Yeah.
And but in reality, if you sit and you look, kind of see it, it's actually
Mhm.
saying a whole lot there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Almost every year I do a new self portrait. And what that does is it shows me the headspace that I'm in. If I'm feeling extra confident, then that picture is gonna look more confident. The lines are gonna be super bold. The pose is gonna be, dynamic, super dynamic. The colors that I'm using, yeah, it's just gonna have a different energy than if I'm not feeling as great as I want to feel at the time.
Hmm. So how do you ride those low moments? I think a lot of times, one thing that I've learned as I've gotten older is that it's not about being happy all the time.
Mhm.
It's gonna be up and down. It's gonna be constantly changing. And so it's more so about trying to find that inner peace, uh, whether it's good or bad, and being able to appreciate it. And so how do you go about making it through those down moments too?
Mm. So first, I recognize that it's only temporary, and I think that thinking about it that way um makes it not feel so deep on you. Like I'm here for a season and it'll end ultimately. Like it's not gonna be forever. And then two, I have the thought that I'm here because there's a lesson that I have to learn. And it could be a new lesson or it could be an old lesson that I've been neglecting learning. And now I have to learn it as opposed to when I didn't necessarily need to learn it and I chose not to. So yeah, just recognizing that and then creating more in that time.
Mm,
Or taking a break. Yeah, sometimes you have to take a break.
mm. You need to take breaks often.
Me, no, 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 no. I don't. No. Nah, I don't need to. Maybe I do. Maybe that's a more complex answer.
Hmm.
But I I don't know. I draw regardless because I do commissions all the time, so I always have something to work on. And even when I don't have a commission to work on, which has been not the case for a very long time, I'll have a personal idea that I've had sitting in my mind for a while. So my breaks are usually to either hang with my family or go to sleep. It's usually because someone else needs me to take a break or
Hmm.
my body physically needs me to take a break than me needing to take a break.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you on that. I think there's a lot of things that we can do as freelance artists because I mean it's just we get to do whatever, whenever we literally just kind of make. We could just wake up tomorrow and like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing this now,
Right.
and there's so many good ideas out there, and I find myself just energized even by a lot of these things. And so I'll have full days where I mean, I'll be doing one thing and then I'll go here and then I go there and then I'm doing this and I'm up all like I'm up in the morning and I'm up all night too. And
Yeah.
I mean, there will literally be people telling me, even like my girlfriend, my friends, my family be like, yo, like you're doing a lot. You might want to kind of chill. But
Yeah.
there's a part of it that's like do you feel the way I feel where it's like it's it's fun to you? Like it can be maybe physically exhausting where it's like, okay, it's kind of tiring because maybe my back hurts because I've been like hunched over this desk all day um or anything like that, or maybe you're just tired because you haven't slept. But
Yeah.
in terms of like wanting to go, like you're down to do all of these different things in the same day because like it's just that fun to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Me personally, I like to finish things when I start them.
Hmm.
And it almost bothers me to not finish it. Like especially when I know I could have kept going. So I definitely relate to that. I would stay up until, man, who knows? I used to before I had a kid, I used to just be working from morning till evening, like from 8 to 12, just working on artwork, 8 to 10, working on artwork, commissions, and my own stuff, just because I don't know, I was working towards a goal. Like I had a job that I was trying to escape. I had bills I was trying to pay. So the inspiration was just flowing because I'm just like, man, I gotta get out of this space.
Mm. So like that's a key point there that I'd like to ask you more about because you're saying that you had a job that you wanted to escape and that you had a goal that you wanted to accomplish. And I think a lot of
Yeah,
people are like at a job and it's okay or it sucks and they really want to just do the thing they want to do. And like if we were able to watch that version of you in that time, what would we see in a given day? Like how's he handling his schedule and what is he thinking about? Like what is he focused on at work and outside of work?
yeah. I think it was a lot of anxiety, to be honest, because the job that I had, I wasn't making like consistent amount because it was a production job, but the way they had it set up was just not like I could not make a decent wage. And there were some days I would go into work and like lose like 80% of what I made just on the Lyft ride getting there and coming home.
Mhm.
Because I was working in an embroidery shop and they were doing like Greek stuff. So they had these jackets that would have really extravagant backs, like 20,000 stitches, and it would take like an hour to an hour and a half to do, right? But then you'd also have to do these little embroidered stuff. Um, and you would just hope that there's enough little stuff because you got paid per area. So an area is just like an area that you embroider. So if you have a sleeve hit, you get a certain price for that. And if you have a hat hit, you get a certain price for that. So the whole day you're just trying to get enough areas to make a decent wage, right? And it should be simple because in other shops it's simple, like they're doing little monograms, stuff like that. But this shop had those extravagant backs, and then you had to share. Um, they had, I think, three machines and then a multi-head, but you had to split those machines between another teammate. So you're both trying to get, let's say, I think they were saying they wanted 40 areas a day. So me and this other person are trying to hit 40 areas a day on three machines, and say two of those machines are running these backs that take an hour and a half of your day.
Mhm.
So it was just like it didn't make any sense with the timing and what they were asking for. So I would be trying to get home and take commissions so that I could make the rest of rent. And then I had my student loans had started being due. So there was that, of course, because my student loans are crazy. Um, they're both like 400 and change a month. So that's
Yeah,
that's
that
almost
gets
a thousand.
chunky.
Yeah, it's almost $1,000 out of, and I just got out of college. Like I didn't have a job in my field that was paying, really well. So yeah, I had to go back home and work.
What kind of social media presence did you have at the time?
Mm. So at that time, it was a lot better because the algorithm was different, and I had already kind of mini had a mini blow up in 2017. I had the job in 2018. In 2017, I had did a series. It was called the anime series, and it was just three drawings of these anime inspired characters that were just super stylish on really pop colored backgrounds. And when I posted those, my page went crazy. Like I had gotten like 10,000 followers overnight. So
Sheesh.
yeah, that happened, and it boosted my engagement, of course, and I was able to get more consistent commissions. But at the time I was doing album covers for like $80.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like crazy money that I was getting.
So,
But I was posting consistently. I was doing art shows too. I was doing pancakes and booze. I did art of metanoia. Um, what else did I do? I did a couple of shows. I think in 2017 that summer I did like 8 art shows.
so in those times, do you think now that you're now that you're past that, do you think that those times were important? Like, do you think that those little shows sometimes I don't want to say little shows, but sometimes people see the shows and if it's not the high museum or if it's not like the greatest, if it's not Art Basel or something, then they don't even give it the time of day. They don't think it's worth it. Like, do you think
Yeah.
that those times earlier on were worth it for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was worth it to meet the other artists in the city, because one thing about Atlanta is when you like the art community really lifts. lifts itself up between each other. And I appreciate that. So I met a lot of friends, like other artist friends that I'm able to call on to this day, and we keep in touch. That'll tell me about other opportunities, or they'll remember my work, yada yada, or we'll hang out, whatever. And then just getting used to what Atlanta's like the people, what they like. Getting used to having people pay for your work. Um, getting to know the curators. I had one curator, he doesn't run an art show now anymore, but he now has a gallery slash like dispensary that he owns. So that's cool
Yeah.
because while you're having your come up, like other people are having their come ups too. And the connections that you make when you're at the bottom are the connections that you can thrive on, that'll come in the clutch when you need them when you're on the rise. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely good to get your work in front of as many eyes as possible.
Mhm. Yeah, I was listening to, I think it was like a panel, a Lightbox panel or something yesterday, just a snippet of it. And he spoke about, um, it was a dude, I don't I don't want to tear up his name. I'm not too sure exactly what his name was, but it was a guy he was speaking about when like when people want to be a part of communities in art and they're somewhere and they're always trying to reach ahead of them. So they're
Mm,
trying to go for people who are maybe more established than they are, or maybe they've been in the game longer and they're always trying to go after the people that are just way ahead.
yeah.
And all the while you're not even realizing that there's a bunch of people that's to your left and to your right. And he's like,
Mhm.
when you see these big crews or you see all these people and they're all a part of this whole thing, it was just these are the people, they just saw each other next to them and like they kept going. They formed these bonds, they formed these relationships, and then they just kept moving forward. And then before you
Yeah.
know it, they're at, they're the big names or they're the heavyweights in the city or in the industry or whatever. And
Mm,
he was just saying like, if you want to have that type of thing, if you want to be a part of like that crew, or if you want to be in the community of like, the top performers of this industry, look to your left and to your right, make these connections, and then like press forward with.
yeah.
It's like you'll
Yeah.
never know who somebody will become.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's underestimated what what multiple small audiences can do for you as a collective. Like if they have 1,000 people and you have 1,000 people and you have 2,000 people, and those 2,000 people are going to tell more people. I think it's also important to see, like, to make sure that your work, when you're doing collaborations, that your work is balanced with the person that you're working with. Like you don't want to have one piece that's like really subpar, and then your piece is dope, and then it looks like a
Looks like you're just
mess.
dunking on the person next.
It just doesn't help you. Yeah. Like it's good for that stuff is good for mentorship, but not everybody wants to do mentorship when they're just trying to have fun. Like they just want to be able to create, like they want to have fun too. They want to be able to create and yeah, just make something dope at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's nice that people who are even people in those positions, people who maybe their work was the one that wasn't quite as strong, even just staying around those types of people can, like, you'll become those people. You're gonna pick up
Yeah.
on the things that they do. You're gonna pick up on the ways that they pull lines or the way that they put down color, and you're gonna look up and you're gonna be just like those people. And then people are gonna be like tapping you on your shoulder, like, "Yo, how do you do that?" And you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, me?" And you're like, "Yeah," like because you're staying around the heavyweights. You're gonna put some weight on yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think it's beneficial when you're learning with someone, like you're learning the same skills with someone, because you'll both get the same lesson, but you'll both take different interpretations of what it means. that you both can apply in real time. Usually when you're working with someone ahead of you, you're just looking to them for answers. Like, what's the way that you did this so that I can do it? And yeah, I mean it's a way to go, but I think you just get a broader range of knowledge when you work when you learn with someone on your level.
Yeah, because then you're able to be able to, for one, I think that those people are more engaged because they're on the same like level and the same playing field as you. But then
Right.
I think that there's a level of like trust that the two have because they understand that like we're in the same situation here. We're in the same boat. We're dealing with the same problems. We're seeing the same kind of way. And so they're more able to, I think, just find answers creatively instead of like trying to pull an answer out of somebody. They're able to like put something on the table and then kind of explore it together, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm. So for somebody who is kind of, they're doing their own thing right now, and there's a lot of people that maybe, you know, they see to be ahead of them or more successful or higher up or anything like that, and they're
Mm.
wanting to find like that community of people. What would you tell those types of people that are like, oh, like this person won't hit me back, and I'm just trying to learn to draw, like they, you know, they're stunting my growth, they won't answer my DMs, I'm trying to learn, like what do I do? Hey, what would you, if somebody were to come to you like that, what would you tell them to do first?
Um, I Man, if they came to me, I'd give them some game for real. Or I'd be like, hey, up to my Patreon. Or I have mentorship on my website. That's probably what I would say.
Mm,
Uh, but I'd probably honestly go through their follow list and pick out somebody and tell them to hit this person up.
mm,
Yeah, because I'm that type of guy.
mm. So then what's different in like the mentorship program? Like why would you tell them to do the mentorship? What would they learn in that that you feel is so important for them to know?
Yeah, so my mentorship is I have a one-on-one session. I think I set it at 50 an hour, but the goal is for you to only need this one session until your next point of, I guess, being stunted. So in that session, we would go over your current level. You bring your best pieces. We look over it. I tell you what I'm seeing, what you want to. We'll talk about your goals and where you want to end up. Maybe what you want to improve on. I'll even do a draw over if you need it, and we'll just really like dive into where you're stuck at, and then I'll send you on your way to apply all that stuff. I'll even give you YouTube video resources that you can refer back to. So yeah, just that one on one, um, and you get critique. So that I think that's the hardest thing for people to get outside of art school, is like a solid critiques. It's either people don't have time or they just don't know what to say to you. Some people don't know how to critique.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a big one because they may not even know where they don't. They'll make a critique and they haven't even given you the time to figure out where you want to go. Like you don't even know
Yeah,
where I want to take this work.
exactly. Because not every choice that an artist makes is, or the choices that I don't agree with that an artist might have made doesn't make them bad choices. It just makes them different choices. So if that's something that you want to do, then I'll be like, okay, well let's expand on it and let's polish it according to the principles and elements of design.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, do you find that it's out of mentees? That's the word, mentees. Out of the mentees that come through, do you find that it's a lot of times art related struggles, or are they? Do you find other types uh, of struggles? Like, what are the majority of people coming in looking for, and what do you find the majority of problems to be for people?
Hmm. So I think the most common that I get is people, trying to find their style. And yeah, yeah, it's like as many times as people talk about it, there's just still something that escapes the artist, and they have the opportunity to ask you the burning question, and they just go, "Hmm." It's like
Yeah.
but it's a super simple thing. Like, you don't have to find it; it's already there. You're just trying to build the fundamentals around it to make your art style look better and to make it more appealing. So don't work on your art style, work on your fundamentals. And that's when your art style will get better. It won't appear, it's already there, but it'll get better.
So basically, what you're saying is that there is no finding the style. It is more so discover, more so like dusting it off or kind of making it more clear to you by way of like that polish or that brushing away would be like studying fundamentals in art.
Yeah. It's like, so when you're picking out clothes, you just have to find out what you like. Oh, I like this shirt. Why do I like this shirt? I like these jeans. Why do I like these jeans? Just you just applying the things that you like to your artwork.
Right. So, man, that's a good point there. That's a very good point because you're you're saying to find the thing that you like and then even explore why.
Mhm.
And it seems like that's something that can be applied to like a lot of things, not just art, but
Yes.
just I mean, just about anything you can think of. It can be like a style per se. And do you think
Mhm.
sometimes I guess I bring this point up because sometimes if somebody can't do something on one front, then they can do something on another front and it'll teach them how to do the thing on the original uh valued front. So if you're like, okay, if you can't find your style of art, maybe you can find your style of fashion, and then through
Mhm.
learning that you can see if you can use some of those same techniques to go into your art. Like, is is that accurate to kind of bring to kind of make that statement?
Yeah, I think so. Because there are parallels to visual art and to fashion. Because they're both about silhouette. When you're picking out clothes, you're picking it's silhouetted articles of clothing, and you're looking for the thing that looks the best on your body specifically, and how those things are play in proportion to each other. So if you have a boxy tee, and you pair those with some baggy jeans, I think that's the style now. Or if you have a slim fitted tee and you pair that with some slim straights, and you put a boxy jacket over it, like, all of that is different shapes that you're putting on, as opposed to putting on clothing. You're putting on shapes. So just applying that shape language to the way you dress, and then applying that shape language to your artwork as well.
Hmm. I'm like digesting it. That's like, dang, that's real.
Mm.
Because then that's, I mean, that's one facet of it too. Like, not
Yeah.
even talking about color or like, I mean, even like accessories and things. Those can all be, those can all be like little embellishments you can add to, or just those are things that play a factor. But I like that you broke it down in like the main, almost like the fundamental of of fashion too.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. Those elements and principles, what is it, balance, harmony, contrast, all that stuff is applied to really everything, even food. You see it in food. When a meal looks delicious, when they have a pancake with two strawberries on top and the whipped cream, like how appealing does that look when you have a waffle cone with two scoops of ice cream on top and a cherry? Like, with some sprinkles and it's all colorful, but those colors balance each other out, like stuff like that. Like everything in this world is designed the way it is for a reason.
Mhm. But in the sense of, okay, when it makes a lot of sense what you were saying there too, with like with the waffle cone and with like the pancake. Like how does that work? Like what's happening there when you're seeing that and you're like, yeah, that's fire. That is nice. Like what's happening in my brain whenever I see that?
I can't even tell you, bro. Like there's just some things that just look good. It's- so I mean I personally just love the shape of an ice cream cone with two scoops on top. Like it just I don't know why it looks good. It just looks tasty.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
I know there's got to be some degree of like our our early association of these things too, or even like maybe even the shapes themselves, like
Mhm.
having like a round shape, like an ice cream scoop, could be it can be translated to be like more approachable and like friendly. And like I wonder
Yeah.
if ice cream scoops were all like pyramids or something, if it would kind of translate a little differently. Um, and then that even makes me think about just shapes in general
Mhm.
and how those can like translate to um do you what are the kind of uh what kind of shapes and things do you like to play around with in your work? I know that you draw just about everything, but I know that
Mhm.
your work is very stylized, and I know that you think about shapes a lot, and you think about them. I can tell just by the work itself that like you're constantly seeing the relationship between one shape to the next, or how well this communicates that. And so if we could kind of see into your brain in those moments, like how are you putting shapes together, and why is that important to you and to the piece?
Mm. Yeah, I think the shapes I gravitate towards are definitely round shapes. So like circles and ovals. I also like squares. And if I'm trying to apply that to my character, like me as a person, I would say that I'm friendly and approachable. I would also say that I'm very solid and grounded. So that's kind of what the square represents in shape language, is somebody who's solid and reliable. So I guess that's usually what I'm going for in my artwork. Like I feel like you're eventually you're gonna know what you're getting. Like it's gonna be a different image, but kind of the same story or the same feeling that you're attracted to.
Mhm. And it's just so you're going, it sounds like you're doing these things pretty intuitively too, not necessarily like super active. It's like you're not purposely putting in like I gotta make sure it's a square in here. It's more so like it just kind of feels right. It just
Yeah, that's
mm,
just that's just shape I like because I like boxy t-shirts and then I like slimmer jeans. So I'm gonna do a circle for the head. I'm gonna do a square for the body usually, and
mhm,
then I'm gonna get that rectangle for the legs. Or my character Doodle he's a like a teardrop on top, like a mostly an oval. When I draw him, it's an oval. But then I'll have him either with a triangle for his full like the Alvin and the Chipmunks look,
mhm,
or I'll have him with a square on top and then legs.
mhm. Interesting. So how do you go about capturing energy in your work too? I've personally seen just over time, um, the energy and the motion in your work
Mm,
has just gotten like it's got pushed. And
mm,
I mean, images communicate. Like I can see exactly where it's going. I can see how fast it's going. I can see the direction, the intention behind certain things. What helped you get to that place, or what helps you continue to push it and refine it?
yeah, I don't settle for the first pose. So every time I do a pose, I'm if I'm having a rough time, I'm drawing that pose like 3 and 4 times, 3 and 4 types of sketches, just to keep pushing that pose, get the curve I want. My inspiration growing up was Looney Tunes. That's what got me drawing. So I always loved how expressive that posing was, the early stuff. And even now I think they've gotten back to it. Like they kind of lost a little bit with the Looney Tunes show, but the recent Looney Tunes, like the poses they're doing in that show is actually insane.
Mm.
S Yeah, just studying, definitely studying. I did in college, I did a whole semester where I was just watching anime I liked. So I was watching Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, and I would just pause at poses that I found interesting and I would try to draw them.
Mm. So then, but then a lot of times in those, or not necessarily in Looney Tunes, but then if you're seeing like Samurai Champloo has they have very high energy poses, but they're not always exaggerated. They stay pretty like anatomically correct, if you would say. And so I guess I ask that question because there might be people who draw like they're trying to draw from reference and they want the pose to look cooler than like the live model. It's chilling right there, or this this reference image on Pinterest, or like they're trying to do that thing where they make their drawing look cooler than the reference, by pushing
Mm,
that pose. And so um sometimes the way that I approach it is I'll kind of see what direction they're going and I kind of just like push it. Like I kind of when I say push it, I mean like I kind of just give it a little gas, or like I if I see that the leg is already kind of going like one direction, I'll see like how far can I go till it breaks?
yeah,
Is that what you do, or do you have a different approach to it?
that's pretty much exactly what it is. That's kind of how we learned to do it. So our teacher had us doing the line of action, and he had us doing gesture drawings, but we wouldn't get much time on the gesture drawings. We just had to get kind of the energy of it. So it was less focus on drawing what you see, and it was more focus on drawing what you feel or what you're trying to feel. Um, and I've always paid attention to the artist that could capture that idea of motion. Like what's it called? Studio Trigger stuff. The way that they draw, where it doesn't necessarily make sense, but it looks cool.
Mm.
Like that their leg is all the way whatever doing whatever the heck. like it just looks epic. Um so yeah, just trying to draw what you feel as opposed to what you see.
Let me think for a
Mhm.
second.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you know how do you know when a pose has gone too far versus you're just not seeing it correctly? Like there's times where I push the pose and I'm like, nah, this is ridiculous. This doesn't even look right anymore. But then you'll see a pose, you'll see a drawing, or some like snapshot of an animation, and it's gone even further and it works. So
Yeah.
what are they doing that I missed?
I couldn't even tell you. It's just this, yeah, you just gotta there's just a feeling in you that when it works, it works. And when it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's just based on your personal opinion. And some people do a better job of capturing a broader audience of personal opinions to agree with them than others.
Mm. Do you think that it's just lucky on them that they just so happen to have that type of feel that most people like, or do you think that's something that can be like practiced, cultivated, you know?
Yeah, I think it's practice. Like you ultimately art is just communication, and you just you just have to work on the way you're communicating ideas to people. So some forms of communication work better than others, but as long as you As long as you keep communicating, you'll find people that communicate the same way you do.
It's cool. It's like I always think about radios and like walkie talkies whenever people say stuff like that because it is kind of like just putting out your own until somebody kind of just pops up like, oh yeah,
Mm.
this is kind of what I like too. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Having to like brave that initial like, hey, I'm out here. I'm putting I'm putting my flag down. This is what it is. And then hoping people just pull up to your spot.
Yeah, word.
Hmm. Well, that's cool. So, um, also saw I was doing a little bit of research on you before the podcast, just to see like um just to see if there were like different things that you had out that I didn't know. I know that you said that your characters ooze the most confident attitudes of blackness and 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
And it's very accurate. And I like it a lot. I like that statement. And I was curious to know what part of blackness do you
Mm.
hope people see in the work?
Mm. I think it's just the variety, really. Because I think so. Growing up, I wasn't like, you know how there are like sections, like social sections, like there's the nerds or there's the anime kids, there's the cool kids, yada yada.
Mhm.
Growing up, I wasn't in one section. Like I I knew the cool kids and I was cool with them. I also hung with the nerds and I kind of was a nerd. But I was also in a smart kid, like I got good grades, but I was also sometimes a class clown. Like all of that, all of that is me. So that's what I try to capture in the work is all different types of just our like our swag, the way we do things is just different. Like the way we dance, the way we sing, um, what they call it aura now, like the way like the way we just do things, like just picking up bottles, like like just swaggy, like just like because
Yeah.
we doing stuff and they just look cool. So just
Yeah.
those are the things that I pay attention to, like the way somebody we had a acting challenge in college where we had to animate a character like how they would walk in a room and sit down. And that was like the assignment. And it really it forced you to look at different types of personalities and analyze the subtle motions that they do when they're trying to communicate an idea or communicate their personality through action. I think that's in general just what animation is about is capturing personality in animation in drawings. So that's yeah, I pay attention to that stuff and I like to put that stuff in my work as well. So when I'm holding a mug with my pinky out, like my character will probably be holding a mug with their pinky out, or the way that they hold their hand, or like the shoulder lean, or like, you know, picking up the sagging pants, like stuff like that. Yeah, I think that stuff is cool to put in.
Yeah. I think it's cool too. I think that I mean you capture those things perfectly and it really does you feel validated, you know, like when you look like that is how it be, you know?
Yeah.
That's super cool. So so one question, I know that in the past couple of years you've had some big pretty big name clients through here. And like I'm curious to know, like, are there any uncomfortable moments that happen, like because you represent black people and black culture the way you do in your work? Like, have you run into uncomfortably like racial situations, or do they ask you things and you're like, you didn't have to say that, or you didn't have to ask me like that. Do you have moments like that? You don't necessarily have to name drop, but I'm just curious if like situations
Mm,
like that happen to you.
with the big brands, not really, no. It's honestly with so one time I did a cover and it was based on Dragon Ball Z. And I drew this baddie. She had dark skin and she had an afro and she was wearing Vegeta's outfit. And thought it was so dope. Like she looked cool. But I send it to the client and he's like, can you make her light skin with a baked t-shirt? And I'm just
Oh.
like, that's not the same. It kills the concept, y'all. Yeah, so that was one. I had a guy, he was trying to explain to me that he wanted the 90s hip hop style, but he kept calling it urban.
Yeah.
Could you make it more urban? And I'm
Yeah.
just like, that doesn't mean I
It's
that
like the
doesn't
it's like the corporate word for it. It's
yeah.
like
Yeah. So I've I've had moments. I don't think I've had too many of those moments though. Yeah, fortunately.
that's what's
Because usually the work that I'm doing is already kind of in that world, so they kind of know or they trust me to know. So whatever I'm doing is usually fine.
well, that's nice because then you're able to kind of work freely. It sounds like you get a lot of like creative freedom in those situations.
Yeah, 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 pretty much. Yeah. I don't think I mean there is a project that I feel like I didn't have maybe I did have freedom, but I feel like they weren't really communicating what they wanted well enough. So I was just doing iterations and it seemed like they had an idea in mind because they just kept saying no. But but yeah, that was a whole thing. Yeah.
Those are frustrating when they don't know those like I'll know when I see it type project.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those are rough. That's a burnout source right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And they wanted something based on Art Deco, which I don't really do Art Deco, but like I don't care what the style is. I feel like I can hit it. So I went for it and I was doing Art Deco and eventually we did finish the project, but it took so long to get there. And then they wanted it in vector, but they never told me that they wanted it in vector. So I did it raster and then I had to convert it later. But yeah, and I had Illustrator, but the file was just so big that project was a whole headache.
Mm. Mm. What are some projects? Do you have any that would have made the you from before just like trip out or things? You ever have those full circle moments or anything that was just like mind blowing in that way?
Yeah, I have a few. So there was one when I worked with Drew House. They pretty much said, they said, we want you to tell your story through our brand, which is basically like free reign to just create stuff. And then they would pick the ones that they like and they would pay me to make them too. Like it was good money. So those were the happiest couple months that I've ever had as an artist. Just being able to create random stuff and then send them an invoice at the end of the week. Like that's the dream.
Mhm.
And then the next one was with Hat Club. Hat Working with Hat Club was the first time I felt like I was stepping into creative direction, I would say. Which it wasn't actually the first time that I stepped into creative direction, but or art direction, let me say. But when I did the Oxpack project and I got to pick the style for like I think I did like 3 animations for them, and I picked the style of all the artwork, and it was using my character Doodle, and I got to do the pins too. That was super dope, and I felt like it was the first project that really put me in the culture that I wanted to be in, because I wanted to be in streetwear for sure. And Averex was another one, because that I grew up with Averex, and I remember having a jacket. I don't know if it was mine or my brother's when I was little, but I never looked into getting one after that because they were expensive. So just being able to go to my brother who used to wear Averex and be like, "Hey, I just work with Averex," like stuff, and that brand is so heavily ingrained in hip hop history, and like not a lot of people, not a lot of artists get to work with that brand. Um, so that was big for me. That was full circle.
Mhm. You speak a lot about fashion, even in the examples you gave me, and even now you're saying that you got into a culture that you wanted to be in, which was streetwear.
Mhm.
Has it always been that big of an influence for you, or what kind of influence does the streetwear have on you and your work in your life?
Yeah, so I was heavily inspired by Pharrell and the hundreds.
Hmm.
So seeing when Pharrell dropped the frontin' video and seeing BBC Ice Cream, seeing Bape, like I loved all those designs, and like people were wearing them in New York, of course. When I got to high school, I didn't know how to dress yet. But when I got to high school, I went to art high school, and I saw the way these guys were dressing, and I thought it was so cool. This was around like when the New Boys came out, the jerkin movement. What's up? And then Tyga and Chris Brown were bringing snapbacks back, and there was colors everywhere, colored skinnies. Like it was a whole new world that opened up for me. To the point that I wanted to go to college for to be in fashion. Like I was considering going to FIDM or FIT. I actually took some spring classes at FIT. I took a sewing class and I took a fashion sketching class. And I decided not to go for it because I hated sewing and I felt like animation would have been harder to learn.
Interesting. With the people, with people who you were saying that you didn't know how to dress yet,
Mhm.
and you're seeing people around you who are dressing like, I'm curious to know because I mean, I just kind of put on, especially whenever I was younger, I didn't really care much for clothes and stuff like
Mhm.
that. I used to get clothes from my grandma for Christmas. I used to be mad because it wasn't a game, or I'd be mad because I'm like, dang, I asked for Legos, it's a pair of jeans. Like, dang it. And then I didn't really care much for it. And,
Mhm.
so for people who don't really dress like that, but maybe they still enjoy the culture. Like they do want to be able to start dressing and stuff like that. What didn't you know then that you know now about putting together, an outfit?
Yeah, I didn't know that it communicated who you are before you even have to say anything. Like I would say that I was a shy kid. So when I when I saw what like the way I was reacting to how people were dressing, um, I was intrigued. And then eventually I started experimenting, with different sneakers, different shirts, yada yada. And now to where I'm at now, like the things that I put on, they're just what I really like. But I notice the way that people respond to what I put on, whether it's interest or whether it's sparking up a conversation saying, I like those sneakers, I like that hat, yada, yada. And then advertising my business, of course, DoodleJor, um, and they get interested in the business, it makes me money. I've gotten opportunities from just clothing because I'll walk in a room and somebody will say, I like your hat, and then I'll tell them what I do. Or there's a different presence that you have, or there's a different respect that you get in business meetings when you're wearing your own stuff. People take you more seriously. How are people supposed to know that you know what's cool if you don't look like you know what's cool? Like, why would I trust you to communicate cool on my project if you're wearing that? Like, so yeah, that's huge for me. And then I just like wearing cool stuff. Like, I like seeing my characters on shirts. Um,
Mm. So then,
yeah.
so when it comes to, so it sounds like there's a thing that is to know what's cool, because there is like there's a kind of a sweet spot, or like a range of like, okay, this is cool, this is in, this is hot, this is fashionable. But then
Yeah.
there's also an idea of like wear whatever you want, do what
Mhm.
express yourself. And so how do people kind of balance those two sides? How do they kind of find a place in the middle? Or how can you play on the edges? How can you be outside and still be able to like look cool, I guess? How do you go and express yourself and not run into like people looking at you crazier? Now you on memes. Now you're getting memed up because you had on some jeans you wasn't supposed to have. You was in the water and your ankles was
Yeah.
out and you thought you was expressing yourself, and now you're viral on Twitter. Like how do you stay out of that lane?
Yeah, I think there's what you like, and then there's what fits. So decide what you like and what you don't like. And then I would say look at what actually fits your body. Like what highlights your best features. Yeah,
Mm.
and dressing weather appropriate does help too. Like if it's hot, don't wear the furry sweater. Like if it's cold, maybe leave the shorts. Um yeah, and then of course knowing your colors is great. You know, you don't have to be matchy matchy, but definitely be in some type of color story. My issue with clothing is that everything I buy is a damn statement piece. So I'll have a loud ass jacket with some bunch of pocket jeans, and then when I'm trying to find a fit that's like chill, I have to choose from a bunch of loud talking shirts and stuff. Yeah, so I can't even be low key with it half the time. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so
So
you're like,
definitely get some basic teas. Yeah,
okay. Well, it's
yeah.
finding that balance between, I guess, just trying to find the little middle piece between there of like, okay, these it seems like it's a lot of context driven things of like, okay, it's hot. Please try to
Right,
try
right,
to stay in this lane.
right.
But then also
And
kind of picking what you want in there too. Like, okay, here's your preset, and
mhm.
pick yours from here.
Right, right, right. Because I mean, ultimately, an outfit is just a pair of pants and a shirt and some shoes. So just don't pick the worst shirt of the bunch. Don't pick the worst jeans or shorts of the bunch. Don't pick the worst sneakers. And they don't have to be expensive. Like I don't spend, or I didn't spend a lot of money on clothes. I redid my whole wardrobe off Poshmark with jeans for like $10, jeans for $8, jeans for $7, shirts for 5, $6. Going to thrift stores. Like I don't even buy new clothes anymore, unless it's my shirt. Like and I a one of one printed. So yeah, it's really just knowing those colors and getting clothes that fit.
But how do one find, because you said earlier, don't pick the worst shirt. And it's like, how do I know which shirt's the worst shirt? How do I know what works? Like, where do you kind of learn that intuition, or like that kind of that metal detector effect?
So if you try it on and it makes you look like something you don't want to look like, if it highlights a feature maybe that you're insecure about, it's probably not the best shirt. If the shirt is dirty, if the shirt is too thin, like if like a lot of Shein shirt, if it doesn't hold up in the wash, it's not a good shirt. If the collar's wrinkled, like too wrinkled, and you're not wearing, like you're not going for like hobo chic, not a good shirt. if if the jeans have stains in them and they don't look on purpose, they're not good jeans. Don't get them. The distress is a different thing. But there's good looking distress and there's accidental looking distress. So just if it looks like someone punched a hole in your jeans as opposed to strategically putting the hole there, they're not good jeans. Put them away.
The hole is round. And there's got to be a degree of confidence to it too, huh? Like you can have a good outfit and like you're not walking with it if you're not wearing the clothes.
Mhm.
There's got to be something there. Where do you find that confidence? Is it the outfit that makes you confident, or do you have to kind of put it on also? Like you have to put the confidence on too.
Yeah, the confidence gotta be on you. So your self-care days when I invested in some clippers. So maybe once a week, I'll just be in the bathroom just lining up my mustache and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll wash my face. Not once a week, but I'll in general, I'll wash my face, make sure my hair is picked out. I'll shave down my fade. Um, and that work has to be done. And even if you're not good at it, just having the care to start doing that for yourself adds to your confidence. And then being confident that, like, I feel like there's a way that I can wear anything and make it look good. So I can pick the bad shirt and I can style it in a way that it looks like a good shirt, but it's still a bad shirt.
Hmm. So
Like I have mhm,
so what's that? Like, okay, so you picked the bad shirt. We
yeah,
we didn't like okay, I wasn't supposed to pick the bad shirt, but I can pick the bad shirt and still make it nice. Where how?
yeah, that's a part of styling. So say the shirt is too long. So I might tuck it in and have it give it like pull it out of my jeans a little bit so it has a little that little 90s aesthetic. And then you wear good jeans. So the good jeans make the bad shirt not look so bad. And then you put a good jacket over it.
Mm.
Because sometimes you get stuck with a bad shirt. Like somebody got you a gift and it's like, oh man, now I have to wear this punk ass shirt.
Yeah.
So that's when you start, like, you take the bad shirt and you make it look like a shirt that you actually like. So I like boxier fitting shirts. So if I have a shirt that's not boxier fitting, then I'll make it look like a boxy fit shirt to complement the outfit.
Mm. Mm. And so what can people be looking at or if they're not aware of all the different ways that clothes and things can be put together, is
Mhm.
it somewhere or something that they can kind of see or look at, uh, or it's something they can pay attention to in daily life to kind of grow that library mentally of like how to style things.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. I think it starts with just the awareness of, like, do I have a taste in certain types of clothes? And I think that starts with when you're trying to get into anything, you're just trying to establish some type of taste. What do I like? What do I not like? And then what you do is you go to doodlejor.com and you look at the store and you just buy one of those t-shirts, and that way you don't have to do too much work. Like
Right. It's already
'cause-
there.
right. having like because having a good shirt is half the battle. And sometimes um it's just I think a really good basic outfit is to have maybe a bunch of regular pieces and then a statement piece. So say you wear a monochromatic outfit. You have black jeans, black shoes, but then you wear a shirt with a cool graphic on it, and that's a good outfit. And then you accessorize, you put a watch on, a black watch, maybe a black hat, and that's a solid outfit. Like you're good. Yeah.
Mm,
So
okay.
just buying pieces that make it easier to dress for you.
Like building blocks, essentially. You can kind of
Yeah.
that can always kind of be mixed and matched.
hmm Yeah.
Mm.
When I redid my wardrobe, I got rid of all the pieces that I felt weren't serving me. So now when I go in my closet, it's only stuff that I like and only stuff that kind of matches each other. So I'm even wearing pajama pants and putting fits together. Like I did this fit for Christmas. This fit shouldn't work. It was some it was some plaid pajama pants and I wore a hoodie, a polo plaid hoodie, and it wasn't the same plaid. And but so if I was just wearing that, it looks weird. But then I threw on a FUBU jacket and now it's like, oh, the plaid is kind of toned down. And then I threw on some Converse and the pajama pants are still giant pajama pants. So I rolled them up. And now it looks like I styled these pajama pants with the long socks and it just came together. Like it looked I thought it was a cool fit.
Mm. Let's see. You're kind of you're balancing out these different pieces, or and like you're kind of seeing what they add or what they bring to the outfit, and then kind of tailoring it. Like, okay, this is a little too strong here. Let
Yeah.
me tone it down with this, or let me cover it up with this, or let me pull this back. You know, you're
Mhm.
able to make a nice blend of things. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that brings us back to the principles of design. That balance, that contrast, that harmony.
Hmm. Man, that's nice. That is cool. Like I'm not really one to style up outfits like that. Like I keep it very shirt, pants, shoes. I'll do a jacket if it's cold. You feel me?
Mhm.
Like, if it's hot out or if it's sunny, I'll throw a hat on or something like that. But it's interesting to hear that type of perspective, and I'll definitely be putting it. Yeah, I'm taking notes. I mean, mentally and physically too. I have a book here that I'm like writing things down because it's I do I do still appreciate like when people pull up and they have like just really nice outfits on, or like you say, you have stuff and you're like, that shouldn't be able to work, and like, but it does,
Yeah.
and it's cool to have that know-how and those resources to be able to like just pull stuff out of anywhere. You're like, yeah, we're gonna style it like this. This is how we run it. Or even
Yeah.
in situations when you wanna. There's times where like I'm going somewhere and like I wanna get fly. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
dang, I wanna do it up, and I'm like, well, shit, what I
What
got?
is
I
that?
don't.
What
He said, what does that mean for me? Yeah, it's like, shoot. I don't know. I don't know just yet. But it's cool. Like even whenever I go shopping and stuff like that, it's things to keep in mind.
Yeah, for
Mm,
sure. I became an artist because there was a way that I saw the world that I wanted to communicate. So any opportunity that I get to make the world look like what's in my head, I'm gonna take it. And for what's under my control is how I dress.
mhm. So okay, so that's how you put clothes together. But when it comes to making singular items of clothing, um, you have a store where I believe you have everything. You got shirts, hoodies, pants, hats, you got everything. And when
Mhm.
you're designing these things, how are you going about creating these Oh, that's a dang webcam. How are you going about creating these different pieces? Because I know that you want to harmonize them to like have them be a whole fit for themselves, but then it's like you also want them to be able to stand on their own just in case, like if somebody just wants the hoodie, somebody just wants the pants, you want to be able to have that. So how do you balance, things that are supposed to be able to stand on their own?
Yeah, for sure. I actually don't design my stuff to be worn together, to be honest.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
like I wear them together, because it's my work, but my intention with my store is for you to go in and get that one item that you really like and wear it over and over and over.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it goes
Interesting.
back to my statement piece, my closet full of statement pieces thing.
Mm, I
Yeah.
see. Because I mean, for them to be designed to be grabbed separately, I mean they do still fit well
Hmm.
together. Like remember you posted a couple of pictures where like you have like the whole fit on and it does work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So another thing that I've noticed, man, I remember like my girlfriend watches Berlizzi a lot,
Hmm.
and we're watching these videos with her, and I noticed that his intro, I was like,
Yeah.
dang, it looked like the homie real quick. Who is that? And then I look and I see her name is like in the intro. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
and I thought that was amazing that you did that because I think when I met you, I don't even know if you had started animating by then. I don't know if you had.
Nah, I was still mad at it.
Oh
Like,
yeah, like it.
I,
Oh, go for it. You still have more to say?
yeah, I think I was, looking back, I think I was just burnt out.
Mhm. And so like I was always curious to know like how did that go down? Like what was it like? Was that the first thing that you did for him? Um, can you walk me through the story of how that came to be?
Yeah, it was a community thing. So I have been watching Berlizzi since college. My friend put me on to when he was doing the cartoon roast. And I one day I just got inspired, so I drew a portrait of and I tagged him. And of course, Easy Gang, they saw the portrait and they just kept tagging him in it. And I think then I think he commented on it and then I DM'd him and I was like, yo, we should do some work, yada yada. I want to make you an intro, yada yada, whatever. And he was like, yeah, we should do that. So it didn't happen for a while. Um, yeah, it took maybe like 2 years for us to actually get the project done or to even like get it started. Um, yeah, so he finally came back when it was time, I guess, and he was like, "Yo, I'm ready to get this intro, uh, put the deposit down." I think it took me 5 months to do, and yeah, and then he dropped it the following year. I can't remember what year it was. I think it was like 2023. Um, yeah, and he used the intro, and it got really good reception because I was really trying to capture the story behind him creating content, like what was going on in his head while he's creating content at this level. And I think I think it did its job because when I was reading the comments, like people were really getting what I was trying to say about like the passion that he puts into creating and the feelings that he feels behind the pressure of creating at this level, like people constantly asking for something from you and maybe you're not in the headspace to do it, but you find a way to get in the headspace to create this content. And I think it got a lot of the community to like empathize with this situation and to see him as more than a content creator, but to see him as a creative who's struggling in this way, and just give him more lenience, like more grace when he's not consistent.
So I didn't watch any Berlizzi for my girlfriend put me on to it. And even now, I don't really watch him outside of like whenever I watch it with her. And so
Mhm,
for somebody who doesn't know about Berlizzi, what types of things were you putting in that intro that that like that I don't see? I know that you said you're speaking about the types of pressures that a creator at his level goes through, and
mhm,
then just even learning to kind of to show up for his audience, and just
mhm,
kind of managing that balance between like doing things for himself, doing things for his audience, being authentic, taking care of himself. But like
mhm.
what are some things that that I don't necessarily catch on whenever I see it? Because I just see like cool animation, but I'm sure that there's Easter eggs all in there.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it kind of showcased some of his journey. So he was playing Smash a lot, and his character was Donkey Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So I put Donkey Kong in there. He has he was doing competitive. He had like a competitive thing going with RDC. So I had Donkey Kong punching Leland from RDC because Leland is arguably the best Smash player in RDC, and he uses Ness. So I made Leland Ness. Um, yeah, I had some of his jokes that were good at the time. So he had Shamu Poots. I had like some shampoo. I forgot what I put it. It was like shampoo or something like that. I don't know. And then I I had some salt and pepper shakers with booties. Um, just cause he be getting freaky in his videos sometimes. He be saying some wild stuff. Uh, and then and then he has this chair that he used to break um by accident on purpose. Like he would punch the chair. So I had the chair like beat up in the corner. Yeah, and then the notifications, like it starts out with him waking up and he has these colors in his eyes. Like he wakes up with content on his mind, like creative vision in his eyes, like ready to work. But then your phone is like it's like a to-do list on your phone, and you see all these things you have to do for the day, and then it's like somebody who just ruins the whole vibe. Yo, when's the next video? Also, it's like, man, it's when I record or finish what was that game? Finish God of War. Like just people having expectations of that they want him to do with his content when you might just not be feeling it anymore. But you get through the day, and then you look in the mirror and you make a decision of of what you want to do. You look back to why you started doing this in the first place, and you go in there and you push that button and you turn it on. You record. Yeah.
Man, I'm definitely just in post, I'm gonna like run a video of the intro just so that people can see it, and then I'm gonna go back and look at it myself too, because then I'm gonna be like, oh shoot, that's what he's talking.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then
Like,
the toilet, I put like some doodle sticks in there because his channel got taken down from playing Poop Killer. So
oh, interesting. Didn't
yeah,
even know about.
yeah,
Hmm.
lots of lore in there.
Yeah, and I think it's lore that's like people don't always like catch on to sometimes, where that's where I'm like, I'm just seeing a bunch of cool stuff. I want to know, do these things mean something? I'm curious,
Mm,
and that's cool. I'm definitely gonna go back and check it out. Uh, have you ever like met him? Have you spoke to him yourself, or like other
mhm.
than like through like text and stuff like that?
Yeah, we met at DreamCon just last year.
How
Yeah,
was
that
that
was
for you?
it was cool. Yeah, we didn't get to like hang out because he was, busy with the like they have the talent doing a lot of stuff, but we saw each other in passing. Um yeah, it was great. Yeah, and I should see him next week.
Mhm. So like, is he um ask, do you think that there's anything from y'all's interactions, like has he taught you anything just from seeing even passively the way that somebody at his level runs things?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think him and I are a lot alike, but I think we're in maybe just like swapped places in our creative journey. Like he's someone who's blown up and kind of in my eyes made it. And I wouldn't say I've reached that point yet to where I have to, like handle fans or whatever. But I've been a creative for a really long time. So a lot of the creative struggles that I maybe I or that I feel that he's going through, like I've gone through, like the when we go through imposter syndrome, or when we're just feeling like our ideas, maybe aren't coming out the way we want to, or when we have expectations for how our creativity is supposed to look in a certain season. Yeah, so I think yeah.
Hmm, interesting. And so in those types of struggles, what do you see him do that inspires you to move, in a similar way? How have you seen him kind of jump over a specific hurdle and you're like, oh dang, I didn't even know you could do it like that?
So just recently, when I did the Hawks project, I was having a very hard time celebrating that win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I had my friends around me, showing me that I did this thing. I had Keats with me, I had my friend Alec with me, I had my wife with me, and they're all, like holding this thing in your face, like, yo, bro, you did this. Like, this is amazing. And I'm just like thinking about the next project. And I noticed myself doing that. So I just had to I called him and I explained it to him, because I know that he's someone who's been through like having big wins and having to appreciate um like what he's done, especially like as big as the wins as he's had.
Yeah.
So and he put me on to journaling, which is it's not a new idea, but it's an idea that I wasn't doing. A lot of times I would consider drawing being my journal, but it's different when you're writing than when you're drawing, because explaining in pictures is easy, and it's just a different form of communication. But when you have to write those words down, you really have to face and put a language to what you're feeling, and it just hits different.
Mm. Yeah, you do have to really be direct, huh? Like with artwork, you can kind of just, as hidden and kind of ambiguous as the
Yeah,
pieces are, that's kind of how you can be with yourself. But it's like you gotta look it in the face when you're actually journaling and writing it down.
yeah, bro, you're sad. Like,
Yeah. Interesting. So, can you tell me a little bit more about that project? Like what part of it was so uh well, it's not that you felt bad about the project. It was just that like it was just kind of like, okay, we're on to the next. But what exactly did you have to do, and why was it seen kind of just like the next thing for you?
yeah, so the project itself was to create a merch line. So we did a hoodie and a sweatshirt. And they just wanted me to kind of I guess tell my story through this to this merch line or whatever story I wanted, but it was specifically for Black History Month. And I just decided to make a Hawks team, and I called them the Hawk Stars. It was based on Space Jam. Last year, I was heavily in a Space Jam mood. Like I was drawing my characters with basketballs all year. Um, I have stuff that I haven't even shared, and it's just more more characters with basketballs. I had an idea for a video game, like yeah. And I don't know what I was expecting from the project. I, I think ultimately when when I feel like that, it's because I had an expectation of a project and maybe I didn't get all that I expected out of it. But I just can't pinpoint what that expectation was gonna be. And yeah, I can't even really. I don't know. I was just like, okay, yeah, I did. Let's get. I think it's, and I was still like in a financial place where just wasn't good. So maybe I wanted more money for the project. I definitely did. But I think I was just missing like what doing that project represented for me being a creative in Atlanta who's not actually from here. Like I'm from New York and I just got a project with the Atlanta Hawks on Black History Month. And I think I just wasn't processing that that this doesn't happen every day.
Yeah. And it can kind of just be there, and until you actually
Yeah.
choose to like look at it or accept it, digest it, it'll just kind of be like a little tab, just be
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, even now I'm still trying to process what that project means. I'm actually trying to extend that project into something bigger with a team of guys. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it a lot more, basically.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and then I think through that, hopefully you can find that you can add enough to it to where it starts to make more sense or have more significance, in your life and in your career too. Maybe you're having trouble finding where to put it in your life.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah, because I think personally the project itself, kind of like Black History Month, it feels like it's there for a month and then it ends. So yeah,
It's
I
like, what
feel
is
like they,
this?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I feel like it was like I kind of know what it is. Like it's a Black History Month project. So,
And
you
it's
know,
like, what about in March? Or like, what about this
yeah.
can keep this is more important than just like, okay, we did a black thing February, fire.
Right, right, right.
What else though?
Right, right. And I can't confirm or deny that that's what it is. I think it was more than that, but I just can't help what I'm feeling about it.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy I got to do that project though.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a really cool project. Is that something that's still around, still available, or it's kind of over with?
Um I I think it's about just what I push for, 'cause I think it could be extended. So yeah, I mean I've met who I need to meet in the organization to, ask for more opportunities, and I just have to just gotta push. Pitch and push.
Oh, well, I meant like, is the merch line, is that still available? Is that still around, or is it
Oh yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a page on my website under illustration for the Hawks project, and there's a link to it at the top of the page. Yeah.
Bet.
They
Um,
they said they don't take the page down. And I think there's still sizes left.
Mhm. Oh, I have to check that out. It's so many things that like that you have that you've done. I feel like the the social media algorithms they've robbed me of your content because I hadn't seen your stuff in like a long time, but I'm like, yo, he's been hooping, he's been doing a bunch of cool stuff, and so, um, I'm going to try to like purposefully like and save stuff so that the algorithms know, like, okay, send stuff down his page too, and yeah, some cool stuff.
Right. I didn't even see that you started a collective
Oh
with
yeah.
yeah, with George and Asciate.
Yeah, yeah, we got the House of Daydreamers, man. It's a good time. We're still pretty new, but I think it's really cool. I think it's something that can be really fun, just years down the line as we continue to work together and just jail. That was the reason why I started it to begin with. It was like these are the people that I work with the most anyway, and I'm like, you might as well try to um, it was a way of like trying to form Voltron, like we can
Yeah.
take on bigger projects as a group versus like what one person can be, by themselves. So,
Yeah, I saw that that collaborative mural just today that you did on the page,
oh
and
man.
like y'all's work really meshes together so well. Like it was dope.
And it was cool to see it come together, even with the way that we paint and the way that we kind of play around each other's strengths and weaknesses. So like during the day it was like really hot and like Jalil was chilling. He's like, I'm not even trying to paint in all this weather or whatever. And so like it was time for like me and Trudy to go on the lift and like we're just cooking anyway. We're just doing that. And then whenever we're done, we're tired. It's like the evening time. Then Jalil's gonna just like go in his spurt of energy, or George will spend most of the day talking to people just passing by. And so then
Mm,
like he's also active more so when people kind of get away from him. And so them two are like more so active in the evening time, or even the ways like, okay, I don't really like doing these letters, but George is really good at letters. Can you come over here and do this real quick, or just handle me right here? Or like, can you make sure my lines are crispy over here? And like, it's
mm,
cool to really make something where it was like all the parts felt optimized because you have people on there who's like specialized in that thing. You don't have to bend and stretch your one person to get all these things. You can just call in the person that's good at it.
mm,
Yeah,
fire.
it's really
Wow.
cool. So
Nope.
you've so since you've become a father, how how does that change your drive, your purpose as an artist? I know that uh like one, just the financial responsibility of taking care of a kid can already put like a degree of pressure or just a sense of urgency on work. And then even like, do you find that you want to teach her things or communicate lessons to her through the work that like she'll be able to understand as she gets older? Or how has things changed now that situation is different?
Yeah. Um. So I want to say it really made me focus on. I feel like sometimes in the past I was just working to work, like working because the work was there. But just paying attention to working at my most efficient times, because ultimately I'm trying to spend time with my family. Like that's my goal, first and foremost. I'm not trying to do commissions all day. I just have to because that's how I make the money. Um, that's not the goal. The goal is to live. The goal is to communicate with my family. The goal is to be present and do fun things as much as possible. So even this year, I decided that my ultimate goal is not to work. Like I don't want eventually um when when I hit that age, I don't want to be doing commissions or I don't want to be having a job. I just want to sit around, wake up every day and be like, what do I want to do today? I want to go to, I don't know, Japan or Turks and Caicos or like I want to create this thing. Just creating to create. And I want freedom. Like that's what I desire. So when it comes to my daughter, I want her to experience that same freedom I had as a kid and that I desire as an adult. So if she's interested in something, I want to know somebody in the community that can introduce her to that thing if I can't. I want her, she looks at my work and she knows my work now. So when she sees when she sees Berlin's intro, she goes, Daddy. Yeah, like, or yeah, or when we're looking at my website, she goes, Daddy. Um, I think that's the coolest thing that she's already aware of that.
Mhm. Interesting. And then I wanted to ask you another question too. Um, if you um if you had an opportunity to like, or if you only had, say, a page of space to be able to teach your child, about, I guess, the world and about like how she should go about doing these things, and just about like living life, being a human,
Hmm.
what kind of things would you put on there if that was like the only way that you could communicate to her? It was like through this page to kind of like give to her. How would, like, what kind of things would you put on there?
Mm, wow. Ooh, I would definitely put food. Yeah, like yeah, yeah, good food. I would put maybe a watch to talk about like valuing your time. Um I would put fruit and water, and I would put your like a brain because um I think your mind is the most powerful asset that you have, because your mind is the source of creativity. Your mind is the source of all your ideas. Your mind is the source of your future because anything that you think and manifest will happen in some shape or form. And I think that's been my power. Like the past couple years, every year I would be like, okay, this is what I want for the year. And it would either happen and it would happen ultimately. Whatever I said would happen. The way it would happen would depend on how specific I was.
Mhm.
So
Interesting.
I remember I had said I wanted to pay my student loans, and I meant to say that I wanted to pay them off, like I wanted them to be cleared. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I was able to pay them, like make payments toward them.
Mhm. It's fair.
the, the the good part is that I was able to pay them off of art. Like as a full-time artist, I was able to pay them. And that was a different thing because I wanted to be a full-time artist, being able to pay my bills. And I achieved that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So just manifesting and making sure that your the thoughts that you have are as intentional as possible. Or if you have an unintentional thought, counter it with something that's intentional, just to bring that balance.
Interesting. I like that. You said if you have an unintentional thought, counter it with something intentional. I
Yeah.
like that. Hmm. Is there anything that we haven't spoken about that you think we should? Have we missed something along all this?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about like So you have this team that you've built now,
Mhm.
and what was it like? Like maybe what were those conversations like when you were talking about putting this team, making this team a solidified thing? Because I feel like I'm in a space now where I'm trying to build a team, and it's just different. Yeah. So yeah, talk to me about that.
So, okay, so it's interesting. I was inspired to make the team to begin with because I was I was so admiring of teams that are around, especially people who are like groups of muralists. So you have the ones in Atlanta, like the Lotus Eaters Club. I think that's like the most popular, well-known one in the city. And then you
Mhm,
have there's some like I have some homies in Hawaii called the Helm Studio. It's a couple of guys out there. It's like three of them, and they just crush shit out there. They just go stupid, and their work is all over the island. You also have
mhm,
like the weird crew over in Europe. You got like Nichos, DXTR, and people like their stuff is crazy as well. And I'm just like, man, I've always wanted to like have this thing that like people can kind of see like a family of artists, and we're
mhm,
just killing shit. Like I wanted to be a part of that. And whenever I thought about it, um I just wanted to look at the people that I work with the most and the people that were just really strong. Like I wanted my team to be strong. You know, it's
yeah.
like um and that was the whole thing. I really had like a Ginyu Force kind of mentality or like a Megazord type of mentality. So it's like I can I might be like the Blue Ranger or something, and that's cool, but the Blue
Mhm,
Ranger's not fighting the whole Godzilla by himself. I
yeah.
want us to be able to come together and fight the Godzilla, and and it doesn't even have to be just mine. Like we'll team up for mine, but then we'll also team up for yours, and like we're like greater than the sum of our part, like of its parts or something like that, making something that's greater than the sum of its parts.
Mm,
Being able to have reach that that you wouldn't have. So because of the crew, I can do something that is very heavy with typography because I have a friend on the crew that does that does typography. And so now
yeah.
I don't have to be wary of those projects. I don't have to be afraid of those projects. I can just hit up the homie and see how he can work with me with that. Or if somebody
Yeah.
has like if they need to make characters on the crew and like or if they need to do like people or something, they can hit me up and they're like, "Hey, they just asked me for a portrait. Oh, I've never done a portrait. Can you help me?" Like, yeah, I got you. And
Mm,
that was the whole feel. It's like it was beneficial for everyone involved, where
mm,
I wanted everybody's reach to be broadened and strengthened. And so that was like my initial going into it. But then a problem that I ran into was that we're all so strong that like it was hard to find synergy and balance because we're all so used to doing everything alone. And
yeah.
so it was kind of hard to learn to like rely on each other or even reach out to each other for different things. And
Mm,
I mean, I still think it's something it's not necessarily a problem, but it is something where like we are learning to have more synergy and just more interaction. Like I'll find things that like they did and I'm like and they were like, "Yeah, it was like a pain to do this." I'm like, "Bro, I could have helped you." Like, you know, reach
mhm,
out. Or, you know, and I'll do the same thing. I'll do stuff and people are like, we were at home all day. I could have came out there and helped or whatever. So, learning that synergy is important. But I spoke to the Kilimari, um, the last episode of this podcast, and he's the person that made the Lotus Eaters, and he
mhm,
spoke to it where it's like he doesn't even see it as a crew. He sees it as a family. So
yeah.
he's like, this is truly family. Like we come together and we do Thanksgiving and Christmas and like I mean we're really just like family members. And so I think that there's a degree of that that's important where I went into it more so on like trying to build a Megazord he's like just trying to establish a family. I think I think that there can be a balance between the two. That that is like, being able to strengthen each other and also being able to like see the people and really make them your family. I think that's how you keep it solid, and that's how you keep it for a while, because the Lotus Eaters have been around for like 10 years now.
Mm,
And they're solid. They just did something last weekend at the grocery store, and they were all out there just, having a good old time. Those conversations too were pretty easy for me to have because they were people that I was already very close to. And so it was more so just like a, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Would you want to be a part? And they're like, yeah. Like, thankfully, everybody was just really, really hyped and really like just ready to try that out or to go down that path. So I'm thankful. But yeah, we try to do meetings and stuff, and we'll discuss things that we want to accomplish as a team. And even now the weather's starting to get hotter, and we just redid the deck outside. I'm trying to do like a barbecue and like bring everybody over and have those types of moments too, where we don't do art stuff, we just kind of chill. And so
mm.
trying to maintain that balance between uh, doing stuff as a crew, as a team, and like sharpening each other, but then also like really just being a family together. That's the that's the whole, I guess that's the meat of it there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still like I've been like working on my own for so long. I recently started working with Keats.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I met him on his first night in Atlanta, and yeah, he's like commissioned me for some stuff. We kind of, kept in touch over some couple years. But recently we did a brand together. One day I was just in my head like, like I do commission work. So I'm always getting paid to do a project. But one day I was just like, man, this guy is like he has ideas, and the only thing that is not even missing is just I have this voice that I could give to his work that could really make something incredible. And him to me, because he does so much as well, but I still be finding it hard for me to like ask him for help sometimes. So, which is why I'm glad he offers. So yeah, we've just been building together. We started the brand, explaining God. He just dropped, or he's dropping his tape next week. So I did the artwork for it,
Hmm.
and it's gonna be a fire tape. But yeah, that's been like my step into, I guess, building a lasting team for myself.
Hmm. Yeah, I think for one, it's gonna take time. It just
Mm,
is. I mean, at least in my experience, it takes time. And even in the experience of Kilamari, where he had a solid crew from the jump, but even
mm,
them, they were working together for years and years before the Lotus Eaters were even a thing. And so, and even with my crew members, like we we're like learning, we're like strengthening our wings as a crew and learning to kind of play nice together. But I mean, I've worked with these people for years,
mm.
before the crew thing even was an idea. And
Yeah,
so it just takes time. And I think as long as you guys are still working and still communicating, it has no choice but to grow over time. How long
absolutely.
has it how long have you been like kind of working back and forth with them?
So, man, I think consistently just last year we started, but yeah, it just wasn't as consistent before. So I did a t-shirt design for him a couple years ago, maybe like 2018, something like that.
Mhm.
Uh, or 2017, I think it was. And then yeah, we were just kind of doing our own thing. He blew up on TikTok when TikTok came out. And then he had the planets. I did something for that. And he ended that. Yeah, yeah. We just been kind of sporadic, but now we're like, okay, this is my guy. We work together.
Mhm.
They actually shot the BTS content for the Hawks project. And when I was at um the Atlanta Streetwear Market, he was there with me. He was shooting. Um, so yeah, yeah. I think the biggest thing that I've been missing is just like content, like like me in front of the camera as opposed to my work. So he's filled that gap in my life that I needed.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's cool because it's just like how we spoke about earlier, where it's kind of just seeing people who are working with you, people who are to your left and to your right, and being able to just continue to do your thing and just stay in touch. And you guys naturally find ways to just kind of make each other a part of your own life. And then before you know it, you're like, oh dang, like we've been at this for years.
R- Right.
hmm And yeah, I think shoot with that, I mean, I think that you're going in the right direction with it, definitely. Mhm. Well, man, I want to thank you for this conversation. Um, I've learned so much about you in this past couple of hours here, and it not only has strengthened uh my already uh, conceived notions of just how cool you are and just the type of person that you are, but then it's also been very inspiring to to lean more into what makes me authentically me and what makes my culture and my style so cool, and it inspires me to want to share it with the people around me as well. And it's I know that we spoke a lot about like people the left and to the right of us, and being able to build those bridges and stuff like that. And I'm just thankful that we were able to take one step towards doing that as well. It's been very inspiring, and I think you have a very bright future ahead of you. And I wish you the best of luck with all your creative endeavors too.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm super grateful for being on here. Like this was so genuine, and this is exactly the type of stuff that I I would love to do, just over and over. Yeah,
Oh man, shoot, I got you. We can run another episode one of these days too, man. Because
right.
I mean, I feel like there was we were able to go through so many different topics, but I feel like there was still a lot more
Yeah,
to be able to dive into. And so, um, definitely can.
yeah, yeah. We got to talk after DreamCon, and maybe after this. If I get this mural, we definitely got to catch up after the mural.
Oh, for sure. And then, like, if you have any questions dealing with the mural or just with complications or communication or just supplies, what you need, what you should ask for, all that kind of stuff, I got you. So just let me know, and I'll tell you everything I know.
Appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely, man. Well, cool. I'm trying to see. Um, could you give us a little outro on who you are, where people can find you, how people can support you, if people want to see you, where should they go? How should they get to you?
Yeah, for sure. This has been Jordan, aka DoodleJor. You can find me at www.doodlejor.com or at DoodleJor on almost everything. Yeah, keep up with me. I do illustration, animation. I do clothing. I'm just an all around creative guy. So yeah,
I put your website in the chat as well so people can check you out. Definitely check his work out. It's a ton of good stuff, and it's just colorful. It's bright, it's energetic, it's expressive. It's I don't know what else you want. I don't know what else you want out of artwork, man. It's
don't
it's
don't
like
be a
people's
stranger.
happy places. Yeah,
Don't be a
man.
stranger.
Go check them out. Check them out. But yeah, this has been great, man. Thank you once again for this conversation.
Absolutely.
All right, dog. You have any final thoughts, concerns, just things you want to say, anything like that?
Yeah, just wishing you positivity on this endeavor. This Vertex podcast is really amazing, and I think it's needed. Because I think I was just maybe talking about this concept with somebody earlier, and here you have it. Like it just fell in my lap today. So
Man,
this is fire. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Also, um who would you like to see on this podcast one day?
Okay, so my favorite artist, her name is Alexia Baz. She's out of Columbus, Ohio. I
Hmm.
think I don't remember her screen name right now. It was a slur, but it might just be Alexia Baz now. I would love to see her on this podcast. Also, maybe TJ Reese. He's a tattoo artist at City of Ink. His work is super interesting, and I would love to know what goes on in his mind. And Mickey Vin, Fatima at City of Ink too, because I think I don't know, I think she would say have some interesting things to say about her journey as an artist.
Definitely wanna look into them. I think TJ Reese sounds familiar to me, but
Mhm.
I'm not familiar with the other two, and so I'm definitely gonna look into them and see what's up.
Yeah, he did a drink and doodle.
Mm. Was it a recent one?
I don't know about recent, but I think that's where I met him. Um, I can't even describe his work, but it's so cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look because it does sound very familiar. I'm sure if I see it, I'll be like, this guy,
Mhm.
yes,
I think so.
cool. Um, yeah, man, I think that's all we got, man. It's been a great conversation.
All right, cool. I'm gonna hop off then.
All right, dog. Well, we'll see you later.
All right, later.